Look over your shoulder. If people are following you, you're a leader. If they're not, you aren't. It's as simple as that. Leadership comes from who you are, not from your position in life. You can put someone who's a mediocre leader and give them a big promotion in a big hierarchical structure and have all the organograms sorted out with all the people reporting to all the other people, and I promise you this, you will not turn them into a leader. You can have someone who exists nowhere on an organogram, who is an informal advisor, a confidant, or a consultant, who may be providing more leadership into your organization than anyone else. Because leadership comes from within. Leadership is something which is given to a leader by those who follow. You can't force people to follow you except through fear in a dictatorship or a police state, and fear is a very poor way to motivate people to follow you. So leadership comes from within. It's a question of inspiration. It comes out of vision, a sense of destiny, a sense of being called, of being given a clear direction, of knowing what that direction is, of knowing what it is that you're going for. It's a part of leadership is being able to inspire and communicate with others so they get it. And when they get it, they're already on the journey. You look over your shoulder, they're already following you. You hardly had to organize them because they are already there. In their minds, they're there. In their hearts, they're there. And then you can put an organizational structure in place, and off we go at astonishing speed with passion, velocity, energy, and you will transform your organization. That's why change management is so elusive. You can have all kinds of leadership structures, leadership initiatives and the rest, but if people aren't following, nothing's going to happen. And the only way people will follow is if they're convinced that the vision that the leader has is right, that it's worth following, that they trust that leader to show them the way, and they're going to follow behind. So leadership, therefore, has to come out of vision. Vision has to come out of the values that we have, out of the very air in which we breathe, out of your view of the world, and that is where you begin to think about your strategy. Yes, of course, every leader has to have a strategy, otherwise you're just a load of hot air, but you have to have more than that. A strategy without an overarching vision will be empty and devoid of passion. You'll never get people engaged. People have to understand the purpose in the strategy in order to commit to it. The reality is that all people can exercise leadership. Let me give you a good example. You could be in a corporate event with the senior 100 people of the largest multinational in the world, and they could be listening, let's say, to the chairman speak about the future of the organization. At that moment, the chairman is providing leadership in that meeting. Imagine a young woman who's only 22 years old comes in from the back of the hall and says, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a fire and I need you all to follow me now. At that moment, there's a crisis of leadership. Do we follow the leadership of the chairman or do we follow the leadership of the young woman? Now, it will all depend on whether we believe in what she's saying. If we do believe in what she's saying and we trust her partly because of her uniform, perhaps, we see that she is a member of the hotel, and we trust her judgment and her training, that when she says that particular door is not a safe door, that door is the door that we all need to go out of now, and then you will find that she has upstaged the chairman's leadership. You do not need to wait for the chairman to say, yes, I think we will all go now. You will probably find that people will start to move anyway, because she has leadership in that situation. And this is the power of leadership. Leadership comes from the situation in which we are, and it is in that situation that we express a clear way forward, which calls people to attention, commands their trust, and then people follow. What do you do if you think that people might follow you a bit, but they just don't follow you enough? Well, we need to look inside ourselves and ask ourselves what kind of lead we're actually giving. Are we positive and affirming of the people who are asking to trust us? Are we listening to their concerns? Do we really understand their own worldview? Have we tried to really get inside their own skin to see how this new change that you're proposing will feel like from their own way of thinking? Have we really taken account of the challenges which they are facing themselves, perhaps from the people who they are leading, who they also have to carry with them, and maybe they don't feel able to communicate to as effectively as they'd like to. Are we clear ourselves about the direction that we're going in? You see, all too often, I see a leader trying to lead and gives a great bold speech or whatever it is from a public platform. But when you take them aside, the confidence crumbles and they're less certain than they appeared in public. But you can't manufacture vision. You cannot synthesize strategy. You have to know it inside. And if you're not sure, it will show. And if it shows, it will erode trust. Because there's an integrity issue if you're not being honest with the people you're leading. If you're asking them to do a particular thing and appearing to say that it's the best thing that's ever going to happen to them, but deep down inside you have a lack of true conviction about it, then don't be surprised if they're going to hold back. So let's lead with integrity, lead with passion, lead by example, because that's the only way we can lead from the front, empower, equip, release, encourage, and change our world to become a better place. Because that, at root, is the most powerful motivator any leader can offer to those who want to follow.